Hi, welcome to Blood Bowl Chaos Edition. I kind of went crazy in the Steam sale and bought a bunch of stuff. This was available for about £7. So I grabbed it and I did a quick tutorial mission. I played this when I was a kid on the board game, like the original one, which is mad. And I'd kind of always been half looking at it, so I thought I'd jump in. Anyway, I played the tutorial mission and then just fired up the first race, the Amazons, and I'm going to call them the Pink Ladies. I'm just going to see how far I get on this run through, taking it medium, and once I've got a better handle on the game, I might play another campaign, depending on how much you guys enjoy it and, you know, what else goes on. And probably another game will come to distract me because there's a bunch of stuff out in a couple of weeks. Anyway, I picked the Amazons, made them pink, and I'm just going to take the first campaign that it throws at me. So this one, take part in competition. Now the general premise here is it's American football with a fantasy theme, so you play like orcs and goblins and Amazons and chaos and blah. And you have to buy up a team, and the teams have different skills. First of all, linemen have dodge, which allows you to... It gets kind of complicated. Blitzers are basically your attackers. Line women are your main characters. Throwers obviously throw, and catchers obviously catch. And different teams have different abilities and different skill sets and different types of players. Like the dwarves are a very much attacking team. The elves are very much a throwing team. You've got a bunch of different stats too. MA is movement allowance, how far they can move on the grid. ST is strength, that determines how well they can fight. AG is agility, that's for throwing, picking up, and catching the ball. And finally, AV is armor value, and that's how resistant they are to getting beaten around the face. They've also got level, and SPP is experience. So I'm just going to jump straight into the first match, and it's kind of unbalanced. I'm up against a team worth 1,300, and I'm worth 920. So I get a bit of cash to spend at the beginning of the match. I'm going to buy a Halfling Master Chef who can give me some team rerolls, you'll understand what they are a bit later, and also some Bloodwiser Babes, which help if people get wounded. There we go, and I forgot to buy them. So we'll jump into the game and it'll get clearer as we play along. I'll explain what happens as it's going. The bottom line is there's a lot of dice rolling. And it's turn-based rather than real-time, although there is a real-time version, but that, for a purist like me, seems less true to the original. And I quite like turn-based games. Anyway, you start off by choosing a coin toss, and then you either kick or receive, depending on if you won. What are we doing? We're kicking off. So you line your team up. I've put their names or their types of character over the top. So I've got 3 line women on the front line at the blitz line. Scrimmage, I don't know what it's called. Some blitzers out to either side there. And what am I trying to say? The pitch is mapped up into 3 segments. So starting up, you're kind of limited by how you can lay people down. My Halfling Master Chef gave me 2 rerolls, which is good. Rerolls allow you to basically retry a failed action. Everything in this game is dependent on dice rolls, and there's a log at the bottom that doesn't show up very well. I'll look at a way of figuring that out for the next game. But the ball is going to land there, and I got the ability to rearrange my team to set up for an interception, or at least a defense. So I'm just going to move those blitzers up a little bit. You can see I kicked the ball way off mark. My kicker is not very good at the moment. It's actually my thrower who's kicking. And I'm just bringing everyone up to the front line. Anyway, this guy has a go, and not much will be clear. But this is kind of a evil team. I nearly swore there. An evil team to play against. They've all got regeneration, which essentially means that they're really hard to put down. They've got a few very strong characters, the mummies, but their movement is not so great. The only really good guys are the throwers and the catchers in their team. They're the agile ones, but the Tomb Guardians, sorry, not the mummies. The Tomb Guardians put out a lot of damage. You can see there they've got strength 5 on the bottom right compared to my strength 3. The Amazons are pretty average all round. They've all got 6 movement, 3 strength, 3 agility, and 7 armor value. So they're basically middle of the line, but the advantage is they all have dodge, which is a fantastic skill. So players have what's called tackle zones, and you'll see the pitch is turned into like a grid, and every character has a tackle zone around them, the 8 squares surrounding them, and if you move out of that tackle zone, any opposing character has the opportunity to tackle you. I'm about to go for a blitz here, I think. I'm just moving forward. What you can do is gang up on people. So you can get overwhelming odds, and you'll see they've picked up the ball and made what's called a cage. which is where they surround the ball carrier with a bunch of their players. Now I'm going to blitz, which means I move then attack, and you can only do one move then attack in every turn. As you can see on the top right, I'm on turn 1 of 16 here. When you attack, you roll some dice, you roll the attacking dice, and depending on how your odds are looking, if you've overwhelmed the player and it's dependent on your strength as well, you'll get to roll a certain number of dice. And the outcome from the attacking dice is push back, both characters down, defender stumbles, which will knock them down if they don't have dodge, and also defender is knocked down, and also attacker down. I don't remember if I mentioned that. So attacks can go wrong. So essentially the more dice you can roll, the better. That one is defender stumbles, and you'll see I get to push the defender back, and because he doesn't have dodge, he gets knocked down. So when a character gets knocked down, you roll, you'll see on the bottom right, you roll for damage. First of all, you roll 2 6-sided dice, so a number between 2 and 12, which has to beat their armor value. And you'll remember that all my characters have an armor value of 7. Their Tomb Guardians, I think, have an armor value of 9, so they're actually pretty hard to injure. When a character goes down, there's a few things that can happen. They can either be knocked over, they can be stunned, which is an advanced knockover, which puts them down for 2 turns, or they can be knocked out, which puts them into the sidelines, and at half time there's a chance that they'll come back into play, or they can get severely injured. Badly injured means they won't come back in. Severely injured means they broke a bone or something like that, and they will take a permanent loss to their stats, and that absolutely sucks, but it's pretty rare. You can also kill them, which is brutal. I remember I had a team back when I played on the board, and it was a weak team, and it was up against some dwarves, and the dwarves pretty much killed the entire team, which made me unhappy. Anyway, they are doing a blitz now on me, and I'm going to speed up their actions because we don't have much control over it. But the good thing about the Amazons is they're really hard to put down because they've all got dodge. You'll see here, because I'm outnumbering him, I get to choose which dice to pick when he attacks me. So I picked I picked attacker down, which knocks him over. Now a turn ends when everyone's moved, or you drop the ball, or one of your own team is knocked down. So you have to choose the order of your moves very carefully. Generally what you want to do is move characters first, then do attacks or throws, depending on how risky they both are. And obviously throws and attacks also require dice. I'm just moving this line up here, but these Tomb Guardians are so strong, I'm having a really hard time fighting them. So what I'm going to go and do is just try and break his cage up a little bit. Now the advantage of these mummies, or these Tomb Guardians, sorry, is that they're very, very low agility. So they're going to have a hard time getting away from me, but what they're going to do their best to do is just pummel my line. And I'm trying to get overwhelming odds, but you can see my strength 3 against their strength 5 makes it super, super hard. I'm going to try and blitz this guy, but no, still not enough dice. So who am I going to blitz here? I think I blitz this guy, and it gives me 1 dice, which isn't great, but it's better than nothing. So you see, I roll the dice here, and I get push. So all I really do is push the character back. Now if I wanted to re-roll that, I could. On the top left you'll see 2 out of 0, which is the number of team re-rolls I get for this half, and I got the 2 from the halfling chef that I bought at the beginning. And he also lost, he's got 2 out of 4, so he lost 2 of his re-rolls. So he's down to only 2, which is good. I picked a re-roll there because my only option was attacker down, and that would have ended my turn. So I push him back, and when you push people back, you get the chance to follow them up. And you don't always necessarily want to follow them up, sometimes you just want to push them away. Because remember, you can only move an attack once per round. So if you manage to push everyone away, he can only get in 1 attack next round. Although you can be kind of tactical with attacks. What you can do is attack, and if you don't take them down, you can push them into the attack zone of another character. So there's all sorts of little bits and pieces that are slowly coming back as I play this first game. Anyway, he's still caging up, and it's just a bit of a maul in the middle, and these guys, my Amazons, are not really great in a fight, it has to be said. I should be getting them out of here quickly. But he's blitzed me and put an injury on one of my, I think, linemen. Malpadia. I've renamed them all to proper Amazon names. I've nerded out and went online and looked up Amazon names and pasted them all in. But my thrower, I think, is named after a queen because I've decided she's the captain. But this guy's got the ball and he's making a run for it. So what I want to do is get overwhelming odds. I want to put one person beside him, and then I want to blitz with another one. So I decided not to because there was no one who was really within range of the character. I'm just getting people up who've been knocked down because that's an entirely safe move and it's always wise. So now I'm trying to work out what to do. I want to block him so that he can't get thrown to, because if you've got players in your tackle zone who get thrown to. Oh, I got lucky there. Defender stumbles. So that would push the defender back. If he has dodge, he won't stay up. He will stay upright, but he doesn't have dodge. So he drops the ball, and I can choose to pick it up again. And sure enough, I do. I rolled a 2 the first time, and I needed a 4, so I used a team reroll. And now I've used both my team rerolls, so I've got no more rolls this half, which is another 5 turns, which is quite long. Now I'm just trying to get out of the way of these guys, and what I really should have done is maybe built a small cage, or at least put one guy next to the ball carrier, because she is completely isolated. But I'm just trying to pick his guys off. Once they've been knocked down, oh god, both characters down there, so that's the turnover for me. Because I didn't have block. Block is a skill which allows you to ignore both characters down. If both characters go down and you have the block skill, only one of them goes down. Now, these guys, the enemy have very low agility, which means that they basically spend a lot of time trying to pick the ball up, and they get turnovers frequently just for trying to pick the ball up, which is great news. Fortunately, I got a nice block on him. He is stunned. He's out for 2 rounds. Stunned hard. Defender down, stunned. Yep. There we go. And then I got knocked down with an attacker down, and I've got no rerolls left. So now this guy is coming over. He's going to try and grab the ball, but he tried to escape my tackle zone and didn't manage to dodge successfully. So he got knocked down, and it's a turnover. I'm going to get that guy up to trouble their tackle zone. It'll make it harder for them to escape and pick the ball up. And then I'm just going to try and take their characters down bit by bit. But the problem is, again, these Tomb Guardians are a pain in the butt. So I need to use my blitz on this guy to knock him down, but it got attacker down, unfortunately, so that is my turn over. So he gets his throw ra or whatever it is up, and now he is trying to knock me down. That's a knockout, so she goes into the recovery bin for half time. You can see these guys are quite hard to put down. They're getting smacked around, and he fails to pick up. Yay! They're getting pushed around, but because the enemy's only getting defender stumbles, they won't go down. Now I'm trying a very risky pickup. I need a 5 or a 6 on a 6-sided dice, so really only a 1 in 3 chance of picking it up. I'm thinking about trying to blitz one of these guys away who's by the ball carrier, but these guys are all in very tight. And then I did a really bad roll on an attack. I got both down, and I wasn't using my blitzer, which wasn't very smart. Now they've pushed me away. That's quite smart. But they then decided to attack me to try and take me down, and didn't manage to put me down, and then fumbled the ball again, so that was another turnover. I am now thinking, well, it's round 7. They're unlikely to be able to score in this round, in the next 2 turns. They'll probably fumble the ball, but I'm going to go for a crazy risk anyway. But the problem is I fumbled the dodge. I got a 1 and got knocked down. So then he manages to pick the ball up. He is on his last turn now, so that's okay. He's not going to be able to score whatever he does, so he's just going for maximum pain. He's trying to take me down and cause some injuries before the turn runs out, which is always a smart move. If you know you're not going to score, especially in the middle half, try and obliterate the opposing team so they have less players on next round. And there we go, there's another injury. Oof. Fortunately, that was just, I'm trying to see now, it's just a regular casualty, so no long-term effects, which is good news. Anyway, I go for a risky blitz, and your movement allowance, I've got 6 or 7 movement, I forget exactly. You can go for it, which allows you to move up to 2 extra squares, and you can move each of those as long as you don't roll a 1. So you've got a 1 in 6 chance of failing each extra move. Anyway, it's half time now, and some of the guys might come back. He hasn't got any guys out because of their damn regeneration. They're so hard to put down. My guys, here we go. I don't think I got anyone back, but I have 13 or 11 left on the roster, which is good news. So I can still play a full team. And no one's out for the count yet, which makes me happy. Anyway, I'm moving everyone up, and then going to be receiving a kickoff. So he kicks it, and the Halfling Master Chief, Halo, gives me 2 rerolls and takes away 2 of his. But his kickoff table, the fans go wild, and he gets an extra reroll. So there's random events that happen at every kickoff as well. Now, I'm trying to work out what to do. What I want to do is blitz that guy. So I'm taking him down and just pushing him out. And then I'm running my catcher up there. My catcher's pretty safe at dodging, so because she has dodge. And then I'm going for a pickup here, and then moving to there for a pretty risky throw. I need a 4 just to throw it successfully, but then I miss and the ball goes out. Fortunately, when it's thrown back in, it lands really close to my line. So this is actually kind of a boring match. It ends in a draw. Sorry to give it away, but it's an interesting first venture in. Anyway, the ball lands just behind my line, and they obviously need to now break through my line to get to the ball. This is good news for me. Even though they've got some pretty hard guys, they're having a hard time knocking me down, although of course when I say anything like that, someone gets knocked down. They've done their blitz for the round, so they can't do any more running attacks. So you'll see they've run a pretty tight line against me, and they're just trying to swarm the ball. I'm trying to move my catcher up, and I'm trying to knock that guy down so the catcher's clear, because obviously catches are harder when you are surrounded by bad guys. I throw again, completely fumble the ball. I think I throw a 1, which is a critical failure, and just fumble it and drop it into their line, which goes horribly wrong. And when you drop the ball or the ball goes off target, every player it goes through will have a chance to catch it, which is good news. So if they fail a catch, it can actually... I've seen games where, again on the board game, I've seen games where it'll go to especially where they're low agility players, it'll go from 5 different players before it just ends up on the field, and then you spend 3 turns, everyone just running around trying to pick it up. Anyway, from here the ball is still on the floor, and I'm thinking, well, maybe I can still get a throw in here and get it to my catcher. So I'm going for a run there, but I fail the pickup, get tripped. I fail the dodge, get tripped, fall over, knock the ball out, and then this guy goes to grab it, which he successfully does, unfortunately. So now they've got possession, and they're just in my half, which is a bit of an issue. But we'll see how it plays out. Fortunately, they tried to attack me. They got an attacker down roll and got a turnover. So now their ball carrier is somewhat isolated. So I want to take down the guy who's guarding me over here. Here we go. And then blitz the... get higher numbers on the thrower and then attack him, so I'm overwhelming him. And I knocked him down. I did a fumble. But then my linewoman who's just moved, has managed to pick the ball up. But unfortunately she's moved, so she can't do anything right now. So then I've just got a little bit of attacking left to do. I'm just going to work my way across the line. But you can see there the red dice mean that I'm going to be overwhelmed. So they'll get 2 dice and they'll get to choose the outcome, which is super risky. Because if I get an attacker down, obviously they'll choose that and it'll be an immediate turnover. So I don't bother with that. It's too risky to play. They take down my ball carrier because they're buttholes. And then they're just smacking the nonsense out of me. Fortunately, no injuries yet, just a major stun. They've managed to grab the ball again. These blitzers and throwers are a little bit tricky. And now they're building up another cage. But we're on turn 12 of 16, so they've only got 4 turns left to try and score, which is good news. I'm going to try and just break their cage up a little bit after getting in an easy attack. So knock that guy back, yes, but don't follow him up, and now I'll still have overwhelming odds here because I can just gang up on that Tomb Guardian. It requires 4 people just to get a bit of strength, but I've knocked him down, so that's good. Now I'm moving this guy in. There's a bit of a risky dodge coming up that fails, so there's another turnover. And these guys are now pushing back a bit, which is frustrating, but fortunately no one down yet. Again, just a pushback. So we are carrying on through. Here we go. They fortunately fell down. They didn't get their dodge, so now it's my go again. There's only 3 rounds left, so I'm pretty confident they're not going to score. They're in not the best position. They haven't got anyone down the line, and I'm kind of swarming their ball carrier. But unfortunately, I get attacker down, and I've got no rerolls left, so that is my turnover. That was very poorly thought out. But you generally, depending on, because they were carrying the ball, it was a very risky move, but I wanted to do it first, because if another easy move had failed, that would have been disaster. And because I've got no rerolls left, it's also a bit tricky. Anyway, they fortunately overshot. He went a go for it, so he tried to run further than his movement allowance and fell down, so now it's my turn again, and they haven't really advanced very far. So now, again, their ball carrier is somewhat isolated, and I'm just going for a risky blitz, and I managed to pull it off. He drops the ball, but I fumble it. But I'm going for a pickup here, but I fumble that as well, so that's a turnover. But now with only 1 round left, they just don't have enough moves left to be able to score, which is good. So the worst case scenario is, even if I lose a bunch of people, it's going to end in a draw. And they knock my guy down, stun him, but they fumble, I fumble, but it's end of turn. Now I've just got a little chance. I'm going to risk doing this catcher, so I go to grab it, fail the pickup, and that is turnover. So now it's his last turn. There's no way he can score at this point. You see, even though he's got the ball, he just doesn't have the players in position, which is good. So he's just going for the maximum pain to finish it off, just to be a dick. But again, fortunately, my guys have dodge, so they don't take too much punishment. He gets his guy up, and that is the end of the match. Now, at the end of the match, players get experience. I mentioned this earlier, and you get an MVP, a Most Valuable Player award for each team. So my MVP was, I think, one of my blitzers. So we'll have a look at that in a second. It was 0-all. You can see fan factor affects the kickoff rating. So I got 1 new fan factor there. My fan factor's up to 2. And my MVP was Mulpedia, who is an Amazon goddess or an Amazon warrior, or which means I forget. I'll tell you next time. So I will leave you with the team roster ready to go into the second match, and hopefully we'll do a little bit better. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you'd like to see more. I'll probably upload a few more matches just because I kind of like these kind of games. They're a little bit nerdy. You can see the SPP there. I got 5 SPP for being MVP, so 5 experience for being Most Valuable Player for Mulpedia. And I got 100,000 in my treasury, which is going to allow me to buy a team reroll there, which means I get 1 extra reroll per match, which is great news, or at least per half per match. So in effect 2. And there's the team. Anyway, see you in the next one. Bye.